I know I look a little rough tonight, and it's been a long time since I went live to talk about anything, but I want to talk to you guys about something real quickly. It's the 19th of September. We got a couple more days left, and that's the end of summer for 2024. And I know sometimes, my videos don't really get a whole lot of looks, and that's okay because it's not about that. But I've always put it out there, always put it out there first, so that in history, it was out there. So I want to tell you something about life that maybe you do or don't or never understood or did understand, but I'm going to tell you about it anyway because I think it's very important. Sometimes we think we know until we are punched in the mouth, in a sense, and realize that we didn't know. Especially for somebody like me who was raised up in a religious atmosphere, just to find out that that atmosphere is what kept me from being able to see what was really in front of my face. And remember, all skin folk ain't kinfolk for a reason. That's been the original war, whether you like it or not. That's been the original war. And you need to understand that you don't really need kinfolk or skin folk, excuse me. You don't really need skin folk to support you, because it's not skin folks' fault. It's really not. It's manipulation. You got to understand that there are strong entities out there that have been against you. So because of that, it's not your fault. It's not. We have to understand that they gave us something, and they told us, and they said, listen, you have to study it. And when you study it, then you have to support it. And when you support it, then you have to live and die by it. The problem has always been one thing. The things that they forced us, because remember, it was done by force first. It wasn't done by choice. It was done by force first. The things that they forced us to understand, to believe in, to have knowledge of, to have faith with, those things are the very things that were used against us. They forced us to live and die by those teachings. They forced us to support those teachings. Yet they never forced their people to live and die by those teachings, which should have told us there's a problem. There's a problem. And I understand that in life, some have been very fortunate to live longer than 5 years. Some have been very fortunate to live longer than 20 years, 80 years, 110 years. I'm at 52 years. And I've always thought that I was supposed to have passed away and lost my life at 33 because religiously I wanted to live like their biblical hero. That I thought that I was part of that familyhood, that's where it was going to end. And my family barely started once I hit 30. I didn't even think it was going to happen, but it did. And now I'm committed because I live for them. I live kind of through them, but with them. So what's my message of this video? We're almost 5 minutes deep into this live video here on YouTube, and I have a message. All these movies, all these political leaders, they're all driven by something that is outside of our teachings, yet supposedly is associated with the teachings. But has been a contradiction against the teachings. And you come to find out that the teachings has always been about one thing: control. It's been designed to control a certain people group. And that's what's been the biggest mystery behind all other faiths, religions, knowledges, everything. Control. Remember, if you're part of skin folk, they supposedly placed you into their cities. What are you supposed to do in the cities? You're supposed to sit. But they got the opportunity to live in the country where there was freedom, where there was, you can grow your own food, you can do whatever the hell you want. But we supposedly came from the cities? Seriously? And you got to understand, you can't pronounce the word country without the word, and I apologize for any young people listening to this, hopefully you're older, you can't pronounce the word country without the word cunt. And we all know what that word means. See, if you are part of the country, you just described the 10 crowns that are worn on 7 heads, which used to be 10 crowns on 10 heads. What happened to 3 of those fucking heads? I apologize for swearing, but I asked that question because the obvious has always been clear. No matter what study group you have, no matter what study group you come from, no matter who your freaking so-called master is or was, you can't have 10 heads without 10 crowns, and then all of a sudden only have 7 heads with 10 crowns. A couple heads have extra crowns, right? What happened to those heads? I apologize for, I don't know, some things that I couldn't control, but I'm also starting to learn a little more of who I possibly could have been or should be. And it really comes down to one thing. See, because someone took out those giants. Someone came around and said, hey, listen, we're not going to talk about those giants. In fact, we're going to take the bones of those giants and we're not going to talk about this anymore. Yet, the ones that took the giants out have tons of frickin' stories to tell because of it's so important to how they did it. They were stronger than money, than power, than all the other frickin' governments, kingdoms. There was no frickin' kingdom without controlling those giants. So who killed the giants? Who went after the offsprings of the giants? And yet, we're still being controlled by giants today. So I have one message to you all going into this fall season, because I have a video coming out maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day, that kind of shows you a comparison, a mirror that no one likes to talk about or will talk about. I'm surprised they haven't talked about it yet. But it's about Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, compared to Sean Diddy Combs and Cassidy. Why didn't we see it? Why didn't we understand it? See, because some of our families do and have seen it and have understood it and didn't want any part of it. And some of our families had it on us the entire time and we're trying to get out of it, trying to break the circle. So I'm going to end this video since we're at 10 minutes. I want to just say this to anybody that checks this video out. In life, you either support life or you never ever gave a F about life. I'm not one to have ever gave a F about life. I've always cared. And that's the hardest battle you'll ever experience in life is defending life, extending life. And in order to do those things, you have to try to kill death. That's the key. Killing death.